Hey guys, welcome. This is Ainoa with In Lieu of Murder and
Amanda Marie. If you're not already, like and subscribe. Follow.
follow. I don't,
Today I'm actually coming here to throw Ainoa off a little bit. I said, hey, you want to jump on a call with me? She said, what are we going to talk about? I said, I'll surprise you.
Surprise, surprise, motherfucker.
So perfect. Anyways, so we don't talk about a lot of true crime here. On this true crime podcast, we don't talk about that.
Not no more, because I think we realized that both of us, our ADHD prevents us from actually telling a complete, story without having to go back and forth.
We'll tell the story, but we don't sound like us when we do, because we're not storytellers, we're talkers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference. So our true crime podcast has turned into our way of venting so we don't commit true crimes.
Yes.
Which has become harder and harder as, I learn more about political madness, just so we're clear, guys. It's definitely changed what I thought was the hippie-loving side of me to, justifiable homicide sounds logical in some cases.
Sometimes the answer is violence. Just kidding. It's not. It's really not. I did not say that. Okay. Let's move on.
Okay. So, with that being said, I have a question that I want to ask somebody that I know will tell me the truth. And whether or not if this conversation gets emotional, it probably won't ever make it to the boards. But if it doesn't, then it will.
Well, if it doesn't, then they'll never know that it never did.
Question.
Okay, two-part question. Hit me.
Why are people so afraid of death?
Oh, that's a heavy fucking question.
Ain't it?
Yeah, that's a fucking heavy question. Why are people so afraid of death? I don't think it's that they're afraid so much of dying, but I think it's more of not dying without making their life anything meaningful. You know what I mean? I don't know for other people, but for me, for instance, I'm not so much afraid of dying myself, but I'm afraid of how it's going to affect my children.
Okay.
Like the feelings, because, if you've lost someone, that feeling of fuck, everything seems surreal. It feels like everything's moving in slow motion for you. Everybody
and the
around
whole world
you.
around you is just moving at regular speed, and you're like, "Yo, hey, somebody just passed."
Exactly, and you see how little relevance that death, had for the world. Like what little impact that person caused for everyone, except for yourself. So it's you get this feeling in the pit of your stomach. It's really fucking hard to get over the loss of someone. And for me, when I think of my own death, I more so think about how is my daughter going, and she has epilepsy, she has some disability. So how is my daughter going to deal with that? How is my other daughter going to deal with my loss as well? The thought of that feeling for them, the thought of them having that feeling scares me more than me dying, because god damn it, sometimes I swear to god I feel like it would be a sweet fucking release if I didn't have to be here for this shit. Because fuck.
So do you think that people's fear in dying is that they didn't make a big enough impact to be remembered for a long time? Or do you think their fear of dying is that it's going to impact those close to them emotionally too bad?
Well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think it can be both. But
Okay.
when we fear our own mortality, I think it's like that. It's like we fear not having left like a mark, an imprint on the world. You know what I mean? Um, and if you look at anyone that has ever been like famous politicians, generals, stuff like that, they're really keen on being remembered after they're gone. Because I think they've, if you're remembered after you're gone, it's like a part of you never died. But I think the fear of dying comes from the fear of being forgotten. Um, you know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. But again, I think it can be both. Although somebody that doesn't have any family, for instance, probably doesn't have the fear of their family having any feelings towards their death because they don't have family, or friends. Because there's people that don't have family or friends. I guess that's really sad, but I'm sure they exist. But yeah, no, that's a really, 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 really loaded question. What do you think about death? How do you feel about it?
Like, what do I think people's fear is?
Yeah, when it comes to dying.
Um, so I'm not good at conversations like, and this is why I like to ask you things because you are better at thinking for a general public than I am.
Hmm.
When I think about things, I think about how I handle them. Um, and that makes me sound like a really selfish, vain person. But
You
I
are.
think that I probably think this song's about me.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm smart. It's Amanda. It's me.
I'm a person. um,
Yes, me as a human.
I don't know why I say that or when it started, but I can't help it. I do it
Me
so
neither,
much.
because you used to not say that shit, and then all of a sudden you started calling yourself a human.
Listen,
I
I feel like, and sorry, I know we just jumped off topic, y'all, but me and her have been talking about this a lot lately because I do say it a lot and it just started and I don't know where it came from because at first I was like, maybe I've been talking to my dog's vet a lot, but I haven't. So it's not like I'm referencing myself besides being a human, but I
I
caught
think
myself saying it to my doctor.
I think I know what it is. You know how they started calling illegal immigrants aliens? I think you're reassuring people that you are not an alien. I am a human, okay? I am a legal human here.
Well, so last Friday I had to go to the hospital to get checked for a blood clot. And while I was there, the ultrasound lady was in there doing the ultrasound on my leg. Um, and she kind of hurt me. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry if that hurt." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm only human." And she kind of giggled. But the word stuck in my head again. So that when she left and the doctor came in to be like, "Hey, I know your blood work says you have a blood clot, but um your leg doesn't, so we're just going to send you home because that makes sense to anyone in the medical field, I guess." But I was like, so wait, as a human I can only get a blood clot in my leg? And she goes, "I don't think that's a human specified thing." But because I had already said human in the last 2 hours before that, my brain did it again, and I can't help it, and I don't know why I keep doing it, but I feel the constant need to express the fact that I am human. So, as a
'Cause I'm
human,
only human. Da, 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 da.
listen, that's probably the song that should play as I enter rooms.
Yes, that should be your like theme song. Like
I'm gonna put it on my phone so I can play it as I walk in. um, so
I'll cut this part where I'm
dying.
coughing. Yes, dying. What the fuck?
I mean, I don't know. This might go good with our death thingy.
Wow. I think you made me laugh, and I choked on my own saliva, which is
I think this should
complicated
be
to do.
included.
You think that shit should be included?
I mean, you're almost dying live. It could bring us
Ah.
views.
Since we're talking about death, I'm just going to
Right,
experiment.
just choke. It's
You
getting
know,
these
it really,
ratings up one way or another, bad boy.
before you answer your question, well, the question that I posed to you, which is the same one that you posed to me, I just want to say that I think, as anyone, probably anyone with ADHD has done, I have actually not fantasized, because that's like makes it and gives it a positive light, but I've had so many intrusive thoughts, like even just driving, like, what would happen if I drove into the lake? Like,
And
I,
I
I,
never knew that was an ADHD thing.
me neither. I never did, because I've done it all the time. Like, well,
Not
I
my
don't do
whole
it all the
life.
time. Yeah, but my whole life. That's what I meant.
I've done it all the time, like
I've done it all.
24/7.
That's not even a proper sentence. But anyways, no. But even like being
Uh,
a kid, I used to fantasize with what would happen if I opened the door to the
the
plane.
airplane.
Yeah, the
Right.
airplane. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I didn't learn until you learn your ADHD and then you learn more about it. That's just how it is. Like, one day you're sitting there and somebody says, "Hey, I think you're ADHD." And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm not that hyper.
Hmm.
And then a week later, your doctor's going, "Oh, yeah, you're definitely probably ADHD." And then you're going, "Oh, wait, huh?"
Yeah.
And then you start to learn more about it and you realize that you're not some crazy kook that you thought you were your entire life. And that all these people with ADHD go through the same thing. Like, I had no idea about the intrusive thoughts until I believe okay, we're at the beginning of the year. So it would have been last year that I learned about the intrusive thoughts process part of it, because I always thought that, and not to say I lied to my therapist or anything, but I always thought that maybe I was bipolar and I hadn't been diagnosed because I hadn't told anybody that, occasionally I will walk by, a knife and go, "Ooh, I wonder what would happen if I just stabbed myself in the knee." Um,
Hmm. I
but
didn't
I
even
can't.
call them intrusive thoughts. I didn't have a name for them. To me, they were
Oh,
just thoughts.
well, me too, up until I found out their intrusive thoughts last year.
I just thought I was crazy. That's why I never
I did
talked about it
too.
with anyone.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
thought I was
like,
bipolar. Nobody tells you that you expect these kinds of things. So,
yeah.
okay, so back to death, intrusive thoughts. um, I really like your cup.
Man, Dollar Tree. I tell you, they have really nice cups sometimes.
They also have really cute small bowls that you can use as cups. We
Mhm.
shouldn't talk about this. Back to death. So,
Yes.
I can't speak for everybody else like I know it can. Like, I can't speak for what my opinion of other people would think is, because I'm not good at that. Because I've spent my entire life thinking that my brain was so different that I only am good at my own mind. It, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um,
I'm only
yes
good
and
at my
no.
own mind.
As a human, I'm the only human in the world, which is why I always specify it. But for real, I don't know how to answer on other people's behalf. I can tell you that my biggest fear up until I found out how sick I was that someday I would pass and people wouldn't know my books, because writing was the only dream I've had since I was 9 years old. And I did it. I published my first book. Well, I have two now, but I had published my first book. My biggest fear is that I was going to die and nobody was going to know who I was. And I think that really correlates with what you said a moment ago. Now that I am at the phase in my life where I know how sick I am generally, and I'm having to do things like create a will and things like that become a lot more brain intrusive. I don't even know how to, it digs that much more into your mind about the things that really matter to you.
Yeah, like a hypothetical becomes a reality.
Becomes reality, yeah. But But now that I'm there, I realize that I don't give a shit if the world remembers me. And I say that with the nicest, respectfulest way I can. But
She's lying,
y'all,
y'all. Please like and subscribe so she can be famous sometime. She cares a lot. Like and subscribe.
I care like 14 million times. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, but no, for real. Now that I know that I have to put these things out there, I realize that I don't really care if the world remembers me, because I know logically, and I know this from going through it, that once somebody passes, as time progresses on, memories fade. And they fade a lot quicker than you want them to. You can't control what you forget or lose. Like, I can tell you, I remember about 6 months ago sitting around and thinking, like, dang, man, I don't even remember how my dad used to laugh. And that was one of my big, like, oh, that's my dad's laugh things throughout life. So for me, it was a really big deal. Like, it made me super emotional. I was kind of mad at myself. I was like, but all I can think is, I already know, and I'm not saying this to like boost myself up like I'm some great human or nothing. I mean, I am fucking phenomenal. But I know that the people around me, the people that have been an active part of my life, are going to be hurt when something happens to me. I then realize also, with that being said, that those are the only emotions I care about. Those are the only people I care about remembering me. I don't give a shit if Joe Blow down the road knows that the girl that lived on, the red door on mountain number 6,
You live on a door.
she was a podcaster.
The girl that lived on the red door. That sounds like like a book for like
Listen,
kids.
I'm the only person on my mountain with a red door. So when people ask where I live, I'll tell them my street name, which I didn't want to put on the internet. But I'll tell them my street name, and I'll tell them with the red door, because you can't see my house number from the road or because I'm on a mountain. So yeah.
Inclination and science, just
Right.
science.
Whatever. And I don't have it on my mailbox, so it's easier to just tell people I'm the house with the red door. But anyways, I don't care if Joe Blow knows that I was a podcaster, or that I wrote a few books, or that I knew how to braid hair. I don't care if Joe Blow knows that. What I care about is the people that are right here around me as I deal with all this. And I care about those people going, oh, Amanda, yeah, she was a fucking character. Those are the moments. But I never thought that would be me. And I say that in the kindest way, I think, because I spent most of my life thinking that I was going to grow up and be a superstar.
So, just to clarify, because the question was about fear. So, your fear is that what is your fear exactly? Because I know
my
that you
fear
care
is
about
that
that.
my memory is not going to be strong enough with those that are close to me, because I've wasted, and that's I was about to get there. I have wasted probably the last 25 years of my life chasing careers and being a workaholic and fighting for all these companies, that I forgot to take those vacations and spend those holidays. And my fear is that my nephews wouldn't remember who I am, or that, my best friend's oldest daughter is only going to have mere memories of me because I didn't go out to see them enough. And I think that as you grow as people, those are the things that kind of come together. You have this wide vision as you're growing up of all the things that you want to be and do and accomplish. And at some point, that view becomes smaller and simpler and smaller and simpler. And I personally don't care about anybody else besides the people in my immediate circle, and the fact that 4 years after I die, that they still remember my laugh.
Yeah.
And but I don't think a lot of people really think about those things. And not to say that they shouldn't or should think about those things, because everybody deals with information and life and death differently.
Mhm.
What I do want to encourage, and the whole reason I even wanted to speak about this at all, is I really want to encourage people to be more open with these conversations with the people they care about, you know. And I'm not saying, hey, we should all sit down in a circle with our friends and plan our deaths. Please don't. Please don't. That's suicide,
Yeah.
and it's not good. But
Wouldn't
I
it
am
be? Oh,
saying,
sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but no, no. And all I was going to say after that is what I am saying is, you know, when those conversations are brought up, you got to be more open and exercise whatever it is that you need to get off your chest, because even if that other person doesn't want to hear it, or they're not ready to hear it and things like that, if it's something on your heart or on your mind that needs to be said, then you got to say it. Because you could literally wake up tomorrow, walk out of your house, and a piano could fall on your head. I saw it on the Looney Tunes once. And if that happens, you're never going to be able to have said that to that person. So my biggest thing, and the only advice I can give from that part of it, is when everyone says that stupid quote that we all hate to hear, you know, live every day like it's your last. You don't realize how true and how close that could be at any given moment. So you really do have to speak whatever is coming out. And if you think that all those fans out there, no offense, y'all, I love y'all, are the people that are going to make or break you as a person, I promise you that those aren't the people that are going to be sitting and thinking 4 years after you die if they can remember how you laughed.
Yeah.
You know, the most that they're going to do is say, hey, I got this autographed photo of this girl that was once a so and so. So, but go ahead.
True. No, I was just gonna say, I mean, a couple things, but so I read somewhere someday, I read something that said that we don't realize that each day that passes is one day that we're closer to dying. Like and it was really I mean, it's true. It's kind of depressing though to think of it that way. But I think we get so used to every day having so many issues, especially if you're like middle class in America. You know what I mean? You're so worried about your fucking bills and doing this and doing that. And I mean, nowadays people can't really take vacations. Can really afford to have those big moments that you used to be able to have before, unless you're like really wealthy, because even the middle class nowadays, I mean, fuck, we're struggling. You know, a lot of people are living fucking paycheck to paycheck. So
Right.
you get so like in your head about work and about just making it through the day that you forget to have these moments. Because even if you can't have like big vacations, that doesn't mean that you can't have little moments in your house with your children or with your family, or you know, stuff like that. Like, you need to be able to like make room for that, because at the end of the day is what they are going to remember. And also, I just wanted to mention, how cool would it be, because you don't think about this but often, but you know, like the movie The Christmas Carol, or the story by Dickens, The Christmas
Yeah.
Carol. Wouldn't it be cool to like have like a trial death? You know, where you like die and you get visited by like these three spirits or whatever, and they take you back to see throughout your life, so that you can see where you can, you know, how to maybe change your ways, or the things that you could do differently, like give you a different perspective. I think that would be pretty cool if if we could all get like a trial, you know, like sign up for a trial. Hey, you know.
Can I say something without hurting your feelings?
I mean, I can't promise that, but you can say whatever you want. I can't promise how I'm going to react, but go ahead, say whatever you want.
So, God, I don't even. So my only hesitation is in saying what I was about to say is because I know that my family, does watch our podcast,
Okay.
and some of my friends, but I'm going to say it anyways.
You kind of have to now, because if you don't, then I'm going to get mad at you for like telling
Well,
me,
and
can
I'm
I
just
say
going to say,
something
you
not
know
saying
what?
it?
Episode ended. We're out. I'm just kidding. Like for part 2.
If you like our content and would like to know the answer to the question, please like and
Right.
subscribe.
Oh, see, you're just liking and subscribing. I was going to send them all the way over to our paid thingy.
Whatever
Anyways,
that is.
what is? I forgot what is. Listen, I was going to call it the Ultracon, and I know that's.
You're making it sound like a transformer. Ultracon, unite.
It's called Patreon, but my brain was like, oh, Ultracon. Ultracon.
We should
Anyways.
make a movie, Ultracons.
Right.
Anyways.
And it should just be a whole movie of ultimatums given by robots.
This summer in the theater near you, Ultracon.
Oh, that's so okay. So
anyways, hurt my feelings.
At the point that I found out that I had a life-shortening illness, it was a lot to grasp, and a lot of people around me were like, you're making a lot of jokes about this, you're taking this really well. But number one, I deal through humor. I grew up in an Irish family. My best friend has a really dark sense of humor. It's kind of just how her and I deal with like life as a whole. And and I grew up in a family where, like, I grew up with a man's man dad. Like, you go to him and you're crying, and he's like, "Toughen up, kid. The world's tough out here." And you're just like, "But Dad, my heart's broken. Do you want a puppy?" So humor is how I deal. But it doesn't mean that through the humor there aren't 100,000,000 thoughts and processes in here all the time. And I can tell you that the first few weeks after hearing someone say that out loud to me, it not only made my brain race through every mistake that I've ever made in my life, but it made my brain race through every choice I've ever made, and every wrong I've ever created, every heart I've broken. I feel like over the last, like, how people go through those cycles in like AA and NA where they have to like apologize to people they've wronged and things like that in order to move forward with the next step. And listen, y'all, I feel like that's been my last 6 months, because I have slowly apologized to anybody and everybody I could ever think of that deserved an apology on that level. Not because I feel like I need to make things right for religious or spiritual reasons, but because I need to make them right for me. And clearly if I remember that person or what happened or what I did, then it impacted my life enough to know that, I remembered them because it impacted me enough to know that I did something wrong and they deserve that apology. That's how I feel about it. I feel like it's also made me a lot more patient as a person, which, if you know anybody around you with ADHD, patience is not our virtue, which is really weird because we're late to everything, but we have no patience for you to be late. And me and I know are prime examples, man. She will tell me she's on the way and she will not be there. And 30 and a half seconds after she said she was going to be there, I am messaging her like, "Oh my God, were you kidnapped?" Like,
Yeah.
Did you fall off? And then she'll turn around and be like, hey, you said we were meeting at this time. And I'll be like, give me a couple of minutes. Like, it makes no sense. That's who we are as people. So to create patience for me, that's been a really big thing. I have a lot of patience for that. I also have a lot of patience for people's children, which, if you know me 10 years ago, not 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, I didn't really have that kind of patience for children.
Nope.
uh,
Layla hit you in the head and you were about to like just
I was going to fight her daughter, man, her youngest. Listen, but if anybody's ever hit y'all in the head with a broom, like, I feel like y'all understand what I'm saying. That little girl had a swing on her. She needs to be a baseball pro. I don't care what nobody says.
oh,
But that's I feel like I went through my own version of A Christmas Carol. And that during those thought processes and everything that I had to take in and accept and deal with mentally before I could even push forward some. It was a lot, and it made me feel. There were moments I wanted to just pull away from everybody because it's too much. Like, how can I get all of these things done or said or accomplished in this short amount of time?
yeah. So I don't know what part was supposed to hurt my feelings, but none of that did. You need to work on that. I feel like you're not.
So I know that you and the majority of my family don't like me to talk about my direct situation. And that's why I said
Oh, oh no. It will. That's because I avoid it because it's not conducive to my mental health. It's just like,
because I don't want to talk about it.
yeah, it's not happening. It's not, no, but it kind of made me realize something when I said the Christmas Carol. I didn't take into perspective, like your side of from what you're saying. It's almost like when you have a due date, right? It's almost like its own version of A Christmas Carol, right? Like where you have this time, whether it be 6 months, a year, 2 years, but you no longer have an open-ended, I'm gonna die to I don't know when I'm gonna die. Like, it's going to happen within this time frame, so it allows you to kind of reassess and look. It forces you to look at the things you have done while you're still alive, because now you know that that shit's gonna fucking happen before you wanted it to.
Right. Right.
So
Well, and it
yeah.
changes all your plans. Prior to all this, I had a goal to early retire at 55.
Well, I mean, you can still make it to the 50, maybe. Who knows? I mean, advances in technology.
Well, and listen, people in my kind of situation, that's the hope that we have, is that medical continues to make advances throughout the next few years. Because
Well,
if they do,
not in America. They've canceled research here. You were going to have to go to Europe for that. But I mean, all you really need is your human brain, and then we'll just, find a robot.
and I got one of those.
Yeah, you got one of those. They can just
It's human.
it is human. And then you can sing, I'm kind of human, instead
Listen,
of
I don't know. I'm about to find one of those, like, what are those things called? Like the black market doctors.
the black market
You
doctors.
know where they be getting their little fake BBLs and stuff from?
I don't know. Aren't they called like black market doctors?
Oh, maybe they are. I don't know if they had a specific name. I was asking a question. But I'm about to hit one of them up and see how, if they'll, like, if I throw them a couple $100, if they can give me a full blood transfusion.
I mean, do you really want to risk that though from a black market doctor? I don't know, but they may give you
I
like
can't convince the regular doctors to do it, so they
oh
don't
man.
want to give my blood to the blood bank or something. I don't know.
So listen, you guys, I'm trying. This is a plea for you guys. I'm trying to get her to come to Spain with me for a while. But she's like, I have to work, and I'm like, but you don't. So like and subscribe. Maybe in the next like few years.
I mean, that's true. If we can raise enough funds through the podcast, I can go to Spain because I could take a month off of work without it being an issue, or a few months off of work.
Yeah. And then I can just kidnap her like I always do when I don't want people to leave my house.
I mean, my biggest thing isn't even the income, y'all. It's not. It's going to be paying for the medical care in the interim. If you go on leave from work without money, then your insurance gets canceled. And I can lose a job all day. I can't lose insurance because I don't know if y'all seen some of these bills without insurance.
Because she's only human.
And as a human, if you don't like and subscribe, you know what? For every one of you that watches this video and doesn't like or subscribe, you could be part of the reason that it takes an hour off of my life.
Yes, I feel like we can make one of like those commercials like for the children
for
in Africa.
$1.79 a day, less than a cup of coffee, you can help support Amanda's medical needs.
Yes. So, anyways, like, subscribe, share, whatever, those things that you people do. But I mean, like, watchers. I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you so much, viewers. Yes, watchers, viewers. The watchers makes it sound like kind of creepy.
It sounds like they're in like one of them tall buildings.
Yes, like
for war.
Yeah, like, subscribe, whatever. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in to our depressing talk today. Bye.